Okay, so today we are talking about the range and the measures of centre. Okay, so measures of centre are like when we put the data all in order, we like to know where the middle number is. So say because it gives us an indication of where everyone is situated around it. If you've got the middle, you know roughly there's people above it and people below it. Okay, so there's a couple of different types of measure of centre. Okay, so one of the first measures of centre, so you might write next to this that this is a measure of centre, is the mean. Now, the mean, we have a general term for it that you would hear out in your normal life, and that is the average. So, you know, when you hear like the average runs by people, you know, on a cricket team and all that, that's the general term, the local language. Then the mean is what we use for in maths. So it's sort of there in the formula here. Here's the mean. But just to be clear, you're going to see this symbol used for the mean, where they put an X and a line above it. And that's what you'll be looking at when I show you how to do it in your calculator. We are going to learn how to do it manually so you have a concept of that, because they will test that you know how it is created. And so even though you get your calculators, it's good for us to know how you get them, because that helps you solve problems if they try to trick us later on. All right, so the mean is calculated by summing all the data. What do you think that means when you say sum all the data? Yeah, you add up. So if you were going, you know, you're going to get your average cricket score per game, you would add up all your scores you got for every game, and then you would divide by what? How many games you had. Wouldn't that give you your average run rate per game? Yeah. So that's what that means. So when you might want to put next to it that if you just sum of all data means you add all the data up, yeah, and then you will divide by how many ones you had, yeah? How many data entries. Okay, so what happens there though? So the mean is a measure of centre, but it's affected by extreme values. So what we mean by that, say I collected all your weights in this class and I got the average. And so say for example, add them all up, we got an average of 66. All of a sudden we got a new kid and who just failed the Biggest Loser. So he's come on and he weighs good 200 kilos. He's come into this class. When I calculate your average is going to be way high. And that's way off what the general cohort is. It's because when we add his weight in, our total sum gets really big, doesn't it? So in those cases, when you have an extreme, the mean is not a really good one of saying, yeah, this is what's going on in the class. Imagine if we did that in a St. Columbus class. They would not be happy walking out getting told their average is that. They said, let's get rid of that one person who's dragging us up. All right? So that's when we might use a different measure of centre, and I'm going to skip a little bit here, and talk about the median. The median, so it's another measure of centre. Now, who can remember what we do for the median? We talked a little bit about it. The median, yeah, Pat?
When you arrange the numbers in order from lowest to highest and find the middle number.
Excellent. So the median is when we're just going to get all the data, we're going to put them in order from lowest to highest, and then we're going to pluck out the middle one. So whoever's sitting in the middle, or whatever's sitting in the middle, becomes the median. So can you see here, down here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, we've got 5 data pieces of entry there. Now it's easy when you've got 5 because the middle one is this one, and can you see you have 2 above it and 2 below it. So what you'd say, when you have an odd number, it's easy, isn't it? It's just the one, you just make sure the same amount's above it, same amount's below it. When you have a even number, so say maybe like over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 numbers. So the middle 2 numbers are actually these 2. So when you've got an even number, you've got to take the middle 2 and you add them together and divide by 2. You get the middle of them. So the middle of 8 and 10 should end up being 9. So you can see in that example. So that's what you have to do if it's an even number. Now, a couple of other things we're going to talk about is the mode. And the mode is just the most common. So if we saw a common answer, so with the frequency, the one with the highest frequency is the mode. Sometimes if we have a category that's got the highest frequency, we call it modal category. Same thing, okay? So they might say modal category instead of just the mode, okay? Now the range is always the maximum minus the minimum. So you just get the biggest value and minus from the smallest one, okay? So we go on to the next. Let's do a couple of examples. So for the following data set, they want me to find the mean, the mode, and the range. All right, so let's look at this first one here. If we were finding the mean, okay, so remember the mean is that symbol. So we're just going to write it to get used to it. What we're going to do is we're going to add up all of these values. And we're going to divide by how many there is. So how many is there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to divide by 5. Okay, and then we'll get an answer for that. Okay, so adding them all up, it's 5.4. So when you add them all up, it became 27, and there was 5 data points. So I divide by 5, and then we get 5.4. Okay, so then we also needed to find the mode. So looking at that data, which one is popular? 8, excellent. So we're going to say 8, sorry. And then we're going to do the range, which is going to be max minus minimum. So what's the highest value? Is 8 minus 2, so the range is 6. All right, so let's do this second one. So that was A. Let's do B. So if we were finding the mean for this one, so remember the symbols that, we're going to add them all up. And we're going to divide by how many there is, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we divide by 8 and we'll get an answer. 80 over 8, which equals 10. Good. What's the mode for this one? What's the most popular one? Looks like, yep. So if you get 2, that's fine. It's called bimodal, bi meaning 2. So you've got 12 and 15, both the modes in this case. And then the last thing we've got to do is the range.
This wouldn't be 9 and 12?
No, there's 2 12s and there's 2 15s, sorry. Mode is the most frequent. Okay, and then the range is the maximum minus the minimum. So the maximum here is 15, the smallest one is 3, so the range is 12. Good, let's do one more. So, oh no, there's only 2, sorry, that's it. Okay, so now we're going to look at finding the median of these ones. So if you remember, the median, the first step is to put the data in order. So order the data, order the data. So if I look up here, I'm going to go 1 is my smallest, then 2, 4, 7, 9, 12, and 15. And let's have a look at how many have I got. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's an odd number. So where would the middle number of 7 be at? Yeah, Harry?
The 4th.
The 4th one, good. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, this is the median. So this is the median because we can see there's 3 below it and 3 above it. Okay, so then if we do B over here, okay, so our first step is to order the data. So I've got 5, 8, 14, 16, 20, and 21. And if I go and have a look at the data, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 6. So where's the 2 middle ones? At 2 and 3? And these? So what we're going to do to find the median, we're going to add those 2 together and divide by 2, which will equal 15. So 15 is the median for that data set. And this is the median for that one. Okay?